right, Nick, Los Angeles Rams have gotten some good news. There seems to be a lot of that going around teams nowadays. They're getting healthier. Players are coming back to the field. And these are guys that aren't just nobodies. These are big time impact players. And you have the story on this one, and we'll get into that in just a minute. But Rams fans, you might have been a little bit light for draft picks this year, but there's a lot of new additions to the team that were pretty exciting. Uh, Maybe not so much in the draft department, but free agents and re-signings big time. You got Bobby Wagner, all-pro linebacker, who's going to be a pretty huge addition in the center of the field. Got Allen Robinson at the receiver position, who I wouldn't be taking lightly. Can probably cover in for OBJ nicely during the regular season. And you even brought back one of your own, Brandon Powell, punt kick return specialist. He's going to be nice to have back there in those situations. But let us know in the comments below, who is your favorite new addition to the Rams? But Nick, you've got the story. Do you got anyone in mind that you were thinking is a good addition?
Yeah, so coming out of Notre Dame, I really liked Kyron Williams, the running back. I thought he was an explosive, big play talent. So the Rams drafting him, I think over the course of the season, he'll have a bigger and bigger impact in that offense. And one thing I really liked about Williams is that he played with a lot of swagger and aggressiveness. And speaking of guys who play with a lot of swagger and aggressiveness, Jalen Ramsey, to your point, is in the news. So according to NBC Sports, Ramsey was a candidate for the physically unable to perform list, but the team decided to keep him on the active roster at the outset of training camp. With the first game of the season, now just Thursday, the question is, will Ramsey's shoulder allow him to play without restrictions? McVay told reporters, quote, he's feeling good. He sure looks good out there, and he's feeling good, and he's going to be ready to roll on the 8th. So that's really, really big news for the Los Angeles Rams, getting Jalen Ramsey, a huge part of that defense. This is a Rams defense and really a Rams roster that's really top heavy. We saw it in the Super Bowl. They rely on their stars, whether it's a guy like Cooper Kupp on offense, Aaron Donald and Ramsey on defense. They need their big-time players on the field making plays. It's how they structure their team. That's how they won a Super Bowl, and that's how they're going to repeat if they are going to repeat. Miles, what are your first thoughts on the Rams making sure they have Ramsey healthy for this big-time first kickoff matchup against a really, really good Buffalo Bills team?
Yeah, first thing that comes to my mind is got to have him out there. He's impact player. He's a guy that when he comes on the field, he reminds me of another Los Angeles player, Derwin James, that when he's on the field, presence is felt immediately. Makes a difference whether he is out there or not. You really can't replace him. Being easily top 3 corner in the NFL right now. He's just a got to have out there. So I'm glad he's coming back. I'm glad he didn't have to go on the PUP, because when you're the Rams, defending Super Bowl champions, legally obligated to say that every episode. But you got to go out there. And especially against such a tough team, you have to make a strong statement. And if you got your guy Ramsey out there, to blanket some of these big-time wide receivers, you're going to feel a lot better about your chances. So I think having him out there really is a huge deal. And even if we go, to the stats, Ramsey was incredible pretty much every year, but last year especially, he had really, really high coverage marks. 86 PFF coverage grade, great run defense grade as well. So he can kill it in both aspects of the game: coverage, run defense, even a decent pass rusher as well. So you got to have him out there. Love it that he's out there, and I'm excited to see him game 1, see how he is doing.
Well, especially that there's now reports, according to ESPN's Dan Graziano, that Matt Stafford's elbow injury could affect him throughout the entire year. So the Rams, maybe later in the season, may sit Stafford for a game or two here and there to rest him for a potential playoff run. If that's the case, when Stafford is healthy for the Rams, they need to make sure they win those games, right? Because it's more likely than not, if Stafford doesn't play, it's going to be hard for them to win games. And when you need to have a good seed, you need to win the division like they did last year in order to make a deep playoff run against a very, very veteran quarterback. NFC, we got obviously Brady and Rodgers and Stafford and that whole bunch there. So they need to make sure when they have the chance to win games, especially against quality opponents, they need to handle business. So Stafford's obviously good to go against the Bills. There's no question there. But the fact that Ramsey is good to go, that's going to be big too. Because getting these big early wins while everybody is healthy before the damage sets in throughout the course of the season, especially if there's issues at quarterback, will be huge for the Rams, especially late in the year when it comes to playoff seedings or potential tiebreakers for divisions and things like that. Because that's what the Rams need. This is a team that can't go on the road. They can't go to Green Bay. They can't go to Tampa. Granted, they beat Tampa last year in the playoffs. It's going to be really hard to do it again. Tough place to play with Brady there. So I think for them, they're a team that does really well at home. We saw it in the playoffs last year. So getting that division title is all about winning the games when they have all their players healthy, and it starts with this coming Thursday. And that's going to be great for them that Ramsey's on the field to help support that.
Yeah, you think it plays in a lot that the Super Bowl is at home for them? I mean,
you know what's interesting is that the year before that, right, the Super Bowl was in Tampa.
Yeah.
And Brady won. So now you go back to the obviously Super Bowl last year being in LA and the Rams won. I don't think so, just because I think that the NFL does so many different things with the stadium and the city and the event and things like that. I think the only difference is that the Rams probably were a little more comfortable. They didn't have to travel. They probably, stayed in with their families and their own homes and things like that. All the other players in that case last year, the Bengals, they all had to bring their families and friends, and they had to deal with all the hoopla with the game. So I could see how that affected a little bit. But honestly, once the lights turn on and you kick off, all that kind of goes out the window. It's not like the 1960s or 50s or where people stayed out till 4 a.m. to party all night long before the Super Bowl. That obviously isn't happening, or at least I don't think it's happening anymore. I guess I can't confirm it 100%. But I mean, anytime you get home field advantage, it always is just a little bit of an edge. Even just a little bit of an edge in a brutally competitive NFL, that can go a long way.
All right, Nick, it's time to get your internet privacy back today on every device you own in any country you want. Don't let anyone but you control your internet. NordVPN keeps you safe from prying eyes wherever you go online with their military-grade encryption. Is your favorite Netflix or streaming content blocked in the US? You can simply connect to one of the many countries available with NordVPN and get the access you need.
That's right, Maya. So right now, get our exclusive NordVPN deal here at nordvpn.com/SMI. It's risk-free now with NordVPN's 30-day money-back guarantee. Again, get that exclusive deal, nordvpn.com/SMI.